You just join an organization and you want to contribute immediately. They're paying you real money and they want you to contribute immediately. And the question is, what's the right way to do that, right? There are tactical things, strategic things. It could be high level. You were just introduced and you can't wait, right? But you're smarter. You're smart. You might be smarter than the people that you replaced, or smarter than some of the other, or maybe you're newer and more energetic, or maybe you've been trained in newer techniques. You're, I don't know, a doctor trained in newer techniques and the other people have gotten behind. I don't know why I picked that one. You have domain experience. Your other company was successful. You think you know why they were successful, even though you didn't participate in the whole thing. A lot of times this is as people move up. And so, what should you do? What is the right approach? We actually interview for this, and it blows my mind that we interview people, demand a team-based answer in a lot of cases. Maybe we don't anymore, right? And then it turns out that we actually, a lot of people, we lean against this sometimes, right? So I think the idea is you come into something, and I'm not saying these need to be short cycle time things, right? And we need to be cautious, looking for embedded bias, looking for people that are passively resisting. But the right thing to do is learn the company or organization's domain language. What is the language they speak to talk about their problems? Now, sometimes that's to hide things. Sometimes it's to be smarter, right? But the idea is we need to understand their language and find problems, right? We build solutions by solving problems, whether it's a business problem or a technical problem or something else. So the right way to do this is we ask questions. We ask the right questions. I've worked with some sales reps that are amazing at asking the right questions, and customers will figure out they have some issue they hadn't really thought through because we teased out some details, right? And then we propose and tell, and then we ask why not, and we try and determine whether that why not is valid or not, okay? So the right thing to do here is we learn their domain language. We ask a bunch of questions. We use that domain language in discussions. We try and overcome the embedded bias. By doing those things, we build credibility. And as we move through this process, we validate constraints. We try and understand which parts of the things they're telling us are true and which parts of the things are their own bias that they're not aware of, right? Now, when we do this is actually a loop process here, and we don't want it to run forever, so we need to understand, the strategic and tactical depth we do this. We ask the right questions, we propose and tell, then we try and understand why the proposal is wrong or where embedded bias is declaring it wrong when it's not. And then we loop back and we ask the right questions again, and we loop through this. We try and keep this pretty short. But even if it's not, we can make progress while we're moving through this, because as we build credibility, right, then we have the ability to drag more people on, make more people involved. Now, again, we could actually force people to do it, and that is an option, right? If you're in a major reorg situation, or you are a billionaire and you bought a company and you're like, we're not doing it this way anymore. You're all fired except for the 4 people that will do this the way I want, right? So if people fear you, then hey, you can make that happen. What really happens is it doesn't guarantee quality, and a lot of times everybody's head down hiding, right? So that whole facts are friendly transparency thing may not work out. So if you didn't go that other loop, you're in the tell them and tell them again phase. And I'm going to argue that tell them and tell them again is not an awesome idea, right? Even though we think it's a good idea, right? Because you're broken or we wouldn't even be here, right? Wouldn't be here. I got to fix it. I keep swearing I'm going to fix that. You can say things like, we did it this way, but yeah, that's great. But, the situation might be different. The industry might be different. It might actually be correct. But if you just come in with that, you won't even know if you did it that way because you don't know what we're doing. And I don't mean we, I mean this other company that you're visiting. Another one is everybody in the industry does it that way. I have yet to see a situation where somebody said, or I said, everybody in the industry does it that way. And it was true. It may be for legal or financial tracking or for certain, accounting or identity protection that there's a best path, right? But there's almost never the only path. And anytime somebody uses including right now while I'm using it, right? So again, probably the only place that you can actually make this happen, but then you still end up having to go through these other cycles of trying to ask questions, is if you're in a reorg or a purchase and people are just like, we're going to do this. And I think that makes sense, but you run the risk of people hiding and then you don't actually know what you don't know. The unknown unknowns there, right? So again, I think the right thing, and we talk about this all the time. How do you work with people that don't work for you, right? And so like when you join a new team, or you drop in as a consultant, they don't work for you. So ask the right questions, then you can do a proposal, Then you ask why not. You try and determine what's real and what's not in that why not. You ask more questions to explore some more areas, and you propose and tell, and then eventually, now hopefully sooner rather than later or incrementally, you come up with an answer that actually implements change and makes you successful. Have a great day.